Hey there guys, this is JDM Overload, and today I got a treat for you. I finally have a Nissan Skyline GTR R32. It's a 1992, and I know this is a big deal for you guys because you guys are always asking me like, Skyline dude, you had a Skyline, you had an R35, but you never had a Nissan Skyline GTR. You've never driven one, so you're not legit. So you know what? I can put all that to rest today because I finally got my hands on this beautiful white 1992 Nissan Skyline R32 GTR. And before I start, I want to give a special thanks to my friend Faz. I just met him a couple of weeks ago, and I wish I had met him earlier because he's a very nice guy. He lent me his Nissan Skyline to review today, and I can't be more thankful. I can't express my appreciation for him allowing me to do this. So really big thanks to Faz for this. So a little background on this car. My friend Faz bought this car about 3 years ago. This was a dream of his to come to Korea or to East Asia and get a JDM vehicle, and Skyline was on the top of that list. He looked around and he was able to get this car at an auction. As you're gonna see, this is one of the cleanest examples of a Nissan Skyline R32 GTR that you're ever gonna see. It is in pristine condition. This is the original paint on it. It has a few marks on it, but I mean, it does not detract from its overall appearance. It's almost like a new car. And when you see the interior, you're going to like lose your mind. It looks absolutely amazing. And look around this car. The theme of this car is, for the most part, with the exception of the interior, is to keep it bone stock. So this is basically a stock R32. He did put a aftermarket exhaust on it. He put a high flow cat, and he did a slight mod to the engine where he put the oil filter on top. He relocated it. So everything you're gonna see today with the engine is gonna be stock. It's in very good condition, and like I said, it was built in 1992, and he will be taking his car back with him to the States. So I think that people are gonna love this thing. It's gonna just break necks when he's driving down the road. All right, so I showed you the exterior of the car, so let's look under the hood and see what we got. So what can I say? Nothing too crazy in here. I mean, except for the RB2060 TT, that's pretty crazy. This is the oil filter relocation kit, and this makes it a lot more efficient. When you're changing oil a lot easier instead of going up in a car, and it's just a big pain in the ass to change out the oil filter. If you've ever owned a Skyline, you'll know what I'm talking about. So you relocate it up here, and it makes it a lot easier to do the job and get it done quickly and efficiently. Not a lot to say. It's a very clean bay. I saw it, I was like, wow. I mean, one thing I gotta say about these JDM vehicles coming from Japan, they're just kept in excellent condition. You can never, or you're not gonna find a 25-year-old car in the States too often in this condition, and it's because of that shotgun inspection, and I think that's pretty incredible. One thing that I will point out are these 10 coilovers. So basically, they're GPS controlled, so depending on where he's driving, they will adjust to the road depending on the location. I think that's pretty cool. He said that he got a pretty good discount on it, so I'm hoping to put that on the car that I have not showed you yet, because it's totally not my car. I wonder how many of you guys actually thought this was my car when I first put this video up. I wish it was my car, but it's not. So you know what I can do for you now? I can start this car up. Let's do that. So you can hear that nice aftermarket exhaust. I'm trying to talk over it. It's pretty loud, and he even has a silencer installed, and it's still pretty loud. But yeah, like I said, he has a high flow cat. This is all bolt-on, and this is one of the first mods that he did. And it has a beautiful sound. It's not too loud when you have the silencer installed. It has a nice note. And also, one thing that I also like to say is that he has front and rear sway bars installed, which definitely increases the handling on this car, which is already really good. The other day, I almost didn't get to review this car and that was simply because there was a tensioner belt right on the AC compressor, and it was I guess the bearing that went bad on the pulley or whatever, and it was like hitting the little bracket. It was making quite a sound, and my friend was totally discouraged. But he took it into a shop here and they fixed it within half an hour. Imagine that they had the parts for that, but it was actually pretty crazy. So luckily they got that fixed, and I was able to review this car today. So I showed you the exterior, I showed you the engine, what's under the hood. So let's get in this car and look at the interior. Wow, to me that's a big deal. If you've ever owned an R32 or an older car like this, it's pretty incredible when things like this still work. Incredible. All right, let me turn the light on here so you guys can see a little bit better. I think that should make it a little easier to see around in here. So, what can I say about this interior? To me, of all the, and I've seen a couple of R32s, of all the R32s I've seen, this is probably the best interior I've ever seen. It's just in very good condition. The original owner, I think they reupholstered, or they did reupholster the seats in leather. And my friend said he's not really a fan of the little like red highlights or whatever you want to call it, but I think it looks really good. It's almost like I said, like it's almost like a new car. Has that nice leather smell to it, and I think that it's great. And I want to do something like this with my car. I'm talking from the side here, so if like my face looks kind of like split up or weird, it's just because this camera, it's just one of those things that I can't really fix. What can I say? He has this thing that's kind of like a multi-function display type thingy, and it gives a readout of your oil temperature, your current speed, and other different variables. He has this radar detector from Japan that obviously doesn't work here because it's meant for Japan, not for Korea. And I think this is for the toll booth down here, if you can see down here. And it's kind of weird because if you don't know that, you'll hear like this weird Japanese voice, this female Japanese voice. It's the Grudge, and it's not. It's just I guess it's saying that you're gonna pass a toll booth, or it's like telling you that's loading. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm driving this car. I'm hearing like these female whispers coming from underneath the dashboard, and I was like, what the hell is that? And luckily I knew that it has this toll booth thing in it. So if you start this, it shows you what sensors are connected, the turbo, fuel pressure, oil temperature, and it tells you when it's idling and how long it's been idling for. It has a clock. And you click this, it tells you the RPM, the oil temperature, water temperature, oil pressure, and everything you need to know to drive your Nissan Skyline R32 in complete confidence, because they're better than the original gauges and more accurate, which is what he tells me. And also, once again, here's your coilover controls right here. I am not going to screw with this because I have no idea how this works. I'm not going to lie and say that I do. With that being said, let's go ahead and drive this beast, shall we? So here I am in the Korean equivalent of the back roads. So as you guys can see, it is raining today. So I got to be extra careful because this is absolutely not my car. Can't do a lot about the rain. Luckily I have a Tesla, so that should make quick work of that. But I won't be talking as much as I normally talk, even though I talk a lot. Just because I'm trying to concentrate on the road here. Woo. So I'm just gonna open it up. I did properly warm up this car. before I started getting on it. So it's very foggy today, kind of hard to see. But anyways, this RB26, which you can hear in the background, sounds absolutely amazing. It loves to rev. It starts off relatively weak in the low end, but that quickly builds up, and then when those turbos hit around, I would say right around 2,000 at the 3,000, it just accelerates hard, and it doesn't want to stop. It's just like absolutely amazing acceleration for its day. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up a little bit. Woo! Oh man, that is incredible. You know, as you know, I drive a Mustang GT, and this could easily keep up with that car. Oh, thanks a lot, jerk. Okay, test those brakes out. I love this transmission. Big difference with the transmission that I have now, with the Skyline that I have right now, that I will be showing you in a later video. Very notchy, very precise. I'm not saying that my 5-speed transmission is sloppy by any means, and this is a 5-speed as well, but it's a lot more precise, a lot more notchy than what I have in my car right now. The suspension, like I said, is a little hard, and of course it's meant to be that way because this is a Nissan Skyline GTR, so it has kind of a rough suspension, but it's not enough where it's distracting me. So, big difference with the steering. And I know it has a lot to do with those sway bars too, but I mean, even stock, I'm pretty sure that this thing turns on a dime. And the steering feel, excuse me, is a lot different from with the exception of the gts-t that I had, which had pretty tight steering too. The R33 that I drove, it had nice steering, but it wasn't like this. Like, you have a lot more road feel with this car. You can feel everything. It's a little bit tougher, and I kind of like it like that. The R33 was kind of soft when it came to steering. Let me accelerate. Woo! When I've heard other R32 GTRs or any RB26D TT, I just assume that naturally they have that when you decelerate, like that sound of the blow-off valve. But I guess that's all aftermarket, because this one is one of the most quiet setups I've ever heard. I mean, my gts-t was louder than this, like with the turbos. I feel completely confident driving in the rain. I feel like I could go even faster. I mean, I just feel like I'm in complete control. It's just a technological marvel for its day, and even for now. It's crazy that this car is this old, because it just feels so advanced. I truly feel like a Skyline dude today. I'm truly a Skyline dude now. Probably wondering, how does this compare to my gts-t? Well, I wouldn't say that it's worlds apart. It's different, but not very different. I mean, I feel very comfortable in this car because I drove a R32. It feels very similar. Obviously, the dash, it has more gauges. And exterior wise, I mean, it's different. It's a wider car. The rear is wider. Hold on for a second. But how do I feel? Like, is this a completely different car? I'm gonna have to go ahead and say no. But the crazy thing is, I mean, it feels like a Skyline. Skylines have a very distinct feel, and every Skyline I've driven feels very similar. Some have harder suspensions, some have softer suspensions, and like I said, some steer really precise and some are not so precise, like the R33. But overall, Skylines feel like Skylines. Now, with that being said, the difference is once you get on the accelerator. Once you start accelerating, this thing becomes a completely different car. It is like my gts-t on crack. I mean, it just screams. And for a car that's 25 years old, I mean, if I put someone in this car and I just hit the gas, I'm sure that they would be freaked out. They would be very impressed with the acceleration. That's where the difference is. It's like the gts-t had this upper range of this like limit of ability, like with its steering, with its acceleration, with everything. And then the GTR just keeps going, and it's like I cannot reach this car's limits because, number one, I'm not experienced enough as a driver to do it. Secondly, it's because I'm not on the track. Okay, I think I'm going the right way. It's very busy today. I still don't know where I'm at. I think I'm out of the danger zone now. That's the one thing about driving in Korea. You got to be on your A game at all times because you just never know what people are gonna do. I'll have to make a video on some of my recent experiences, but I will say that it's always a surprise, and it's not always a pleasant surprise. Usually it's always a bad surprise, actually. So let me get into this lane. Woo. Do I have any dislikes about this car? Relatively, not really. Now I will say this, I don't know if I talked about this in one of my older videos when I talked about why I sold my... What's going on here? Okay, I'm good. So I don't know if I talked about this in one of my older videos when I talked about why I sold my R32, but safety was one of my primary concerns, because when I made my video getting pulled over in a Nissan Skyline, one of my greatest hits, by the way, you should check it out. I was driving in Maryland one day in the rain, I believe. I think the road was slick and the car was set up to be a drift car. And you know what I did? I actually spun the car around unintentionally. And there's like this guy, the BMW behind me, and I spun around, I'm facing him. He's like, dude, is that a Skyline? Dude, that's badass. I'm like, dude, I almost got in an accident, bro. So I did it again when I was in Virginia. And then around that time, and not just because of that, but because of other things, I decided that it's probably about time to sell my R32. And one of the main reasons why is safety. Like, you have no airbags in this car. This car will fail a crash test in America. Apparently, it crumples like tin foil. Does that take away from the driving experience? For me, not really. Most of the time, I don't really think about it. But then, when you have a loved one in the car, and you made your own seatbelt like I did in my R32, do you start thinking about it? Hell yeah, you do. Because you want them to be safe at all times. And this steering wheel, if you do get in an accident, it's not going to protect anything. And your loved one is probably not going to be protected that well. And it makes you think, like, how safe am I in this vehicle? But is that something a real car enthusiast says and thinks? Yeah, usually. And they don't say it out loud, but it's something they think about. And that's not to take away from this car, because this car is absolutely amazing. But that's why I sold my car, and that was one of my biggest issues with the car. That the technology, at least safety-wise, wasn't up to par. Would I ever buy another R32? You bet you, I absolutely would. So let's get on this back road right here. And... wow. just incredible. And like you're in the rain and it doesn't even slip, not even for a second. See, I should have drove on this road in the first place. Man, this looks straight out of a horror movie. It's just Silent Hill all around, just completely foggy. Can't see anything. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn back around again. Oh, this is a good place to check out the handling. Okay, guys, so that was my review of my friend's R32 Skyline GTR. It's a 1992, like I said before. I had a great time driving this car, and now I know, well, I always knew what the hype was all about, and it's not hype. This is a great car. It has amazing performance for a 25-year-old car. Everything from high-cast to Ateza just all comes together to create this fantastic package that they nicknamed Godzilla for a reason. I can see how back in that time you would just destroy every car on the road, and since then cars have gotten more advanced and faster, better times, and they've built newer Skylines for every decade. But one thing that I will say, for a tuner, someone who is in love with the Skyline, a big Skyline fan like myself, this is the perfect car for you because it's within your price range. Its handling is like going to be better than most sports cars that you'll be able to afford for the same price today. All-wheel drive, I mean, handles amazing in the elements, in the rain. Like, I didn't even care about the rain today. I was like, screw the rain, I drive how I want. You know, it's just amazing that this car just handles so well. And I mean, my mind is just blown. And compared to my gts-t, I can see why people were like, hey, Skyline, dude, you gotta buy. I mean, I shouldn't make fun of them, but I can see why people were telling me, hey, Skyline, dude, you gotta drive a Skyline GTR. You just gotta experience it once. And I'm glad that I got that opportunity. Thanks, Faz. I really appreciate it. You are the man. You are the man. And good luck to you and your family in your next assignment that you're going to. This was an amazing experience. I'm so glad I got to drive this car. It's super clean. One of the best examples of R32 that I've seen, period. I mean, this interior is just gorgeous. And while you might not like the red or whatever, I mean, this is almost like show car ready. He's gonna turn a lot of heads. He's gonna get a lot of attention with this car, which he says that he doesn't really care for too much, but he's hoping to meet other Skyline fanatics in the next area that he works at. I hope that you enjoyed this 360 video. I hope that you got to see the same thing that I got to see, experience it the way I got to experience it. You can't be here, but this is the closest that I can bring you to driving with me in Korea. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. I was very excited about making this 360 video. So if you like 360 videos, I will do a lot more of these. I just wanted to say that I was the first one to, you know, review a Nissan Skyline GTR in 360, which I hope I am. I think I am. Well, we'll find out. Thanks for watching JDM Overload. Don't forget to leave your alerts on so you don't miss the next episode. And I'm going for another ride. Happy holidays.